amount of time you played and that sort of thing?
I am. You know, I'm not one to complain or anything. But I'm real happy with my time and then what I did in there, and kind of just got a feel for this level of competition.
It looks like Mossy's coming in and playing a little bit of that Y role too. Have you kind of told him anything about the position? I know he started. I mean, he was a wideout, I think, in high school.
Yeah. You know, he's a great player. He's come in right under my wing, and I've really kind of helped him wherever I can. You know, he asks me questions when he needs an answer, and I just tell him little tricks that I learned last year, so his game can excel more than I did last year.
It seems like that Y role is it's really varied in this offense. Last year it was Grayson, Darius, you. I think Nate was even playing a little bit of Y. This year you and Mossy are different players. How does that work out for you guys?
It just gives us that 1-2 punch. I mean, I'm more of a bigger physical receiver, but Mossy's he's speed and he's agile. He's an athlete. He's an athlete, and that's what the defense is going to give him trouble. I mean, I'm coming in and I'm banging bodies with the defense, and I'm getting open, I'm making the hard catches, and then they have him come in and just run by him. So I mean, that's hard for defenses to pick up.
For you, what's been the biggest difference between, say, now and last year when you were kind of getting used to stuff?
I'm a whole different player now. I mean, I'm bigger, faster, stronger, and my knowledge of the game is better. The coaches have done a wonderful, great job of just sitting me down, having me watch film with them, just making me study over and over the coverages. Ex-players that have played this position in the offense, just to see how they run it, and then just pick up what I need and kind of put my spin on it, and then out there is what you see.
It seems like you and Brett have kind of gotten more of a rapport this spring. Has that just kind of developed more and more as time's gone on, I guess?
It has. At the end of last season, it kind of picked up there, and then going into this spring, we wanted to really work on it and kind of get it going. So when fall comes around, we just pick up where we left off.
Who are some of the former players that you tried to watch a little bit?
Jarrell Robinson out of ASU, Joe Fourier, a bigger wide receiver, and then just watch Darius. When he was healthy his junior year, I watched him, but mostly just Jarrell. How he ran it his last year. And then, some of the NFL guys, the inside guys, the bigger receivers.
Who are some of the NFL
guys? We watched Brandon Marshall, we've watched Larry Fitzgerald, we've watched even Hines Ward, we watched a little bit of him. And we're starting to watch Eric Ebron out of UNC. I mean, he's one player I really admire, and I try to model my game after, because he's a big wide receiver. He's a big slot receiver like I am, but he can also put his hand on the ground.
What is it specifically that those guys do to use their size, maybe to be a better wideout like that?
They just have great body control. I mean, the one thing that you see in all of them is body control. The way they can get the defender themselves and then the ball on each side is phenomenal, and they just have a knack for the open spots. I mean, that's one thing I've really harped on this spring, is just being open. I mean, the quarterback can't throw you the ball unless you're open.
What is it? It seemed like you've been more open. What is it specifically that you've done to try to improve in that way? Because it seems like that's not exactly a concrete thing to get better at. You can't exactly see where you're getting better.
I've really just worked on finding that happy medium between speed and power. Really being a physical receiver, but at the same time not being over physical to where I'm messing with the guy at the line and can't get off. So it's really just, it goes back to the mental side of football. I mean, you want to beat your guy physically, but also you don't want to over physical him, and you just got to be smarter. That's one edge of the game where people kind of sleep on, is your knowledge.
Now, Brett was talking about your hands. Have you always had good hands? Has that kind of always been a thing?
Always. I mean, it goes back to when I was little, and we used to play, me and my brother used to play with my dad in the living room. He'd throw us tennis balls, little bouncy balls, and we'd have to dive over the air mattress and catch them, And then once we got better and better, he'd have to challenge us. So he'd say, run down the hall, and as you're coming out, I'm going to throw it, and you got to catch it one-handed. And then, just around the house, we don't really walk things to each other. We kind of, hey, here you go, and you catch it. So I mean, we've always had great hand-eye coordination.
How young were you when your dad was throwing to you over the air mattress?
I'd have to say when I started, before I started football, it's around 4.
Okay.
4.
So he's been training you for a while.
Oh yeah, I didn't know it, but I thought it was just playtime. But my dad's been training me for a while. Yeah.
Body-wise, how much have you gained weight-wise?
I have gained around 4 or 5 pounds. I'm up to 228 now.
Okay. Anything height-wise?
Height, I'm growing.
Yeah.
I'm growing, so I'm happy about that. I started out at like 6'3 1/4, and now I'm up to 6'3 3/4, almost 6'4. So I'm pushing it.
It's like half an inch about.
Almost, yeah.
Yeah, you look a lot bigger.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get bigger, so I'm working on it.
Do you have to walk that kind of line when, in terms of gaining weight and getting stronger? I know you're talking about balancing speed and power. Have you had to watch that pretty closely? You don't want to gain too much weight and lose that speed, or does it kind of come naturally?
With the weight program here, you kind of find your balance, your happy medium, because I've never felt overweight. I've never felt sluggish out here. I've always felt comfortable, whether it's, I'm at 222 or 228. I've never felt like I'm carrying too much weight.